Hello you guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. I have graduated from my little Rode mic and I'm doing a debut of this little mini mic because I want to improve my audio and I think this is the way that people are doing it now. So I'm going to try it and I wanted to try this new product because it's so cute. But I also don't know how this is going to work because I'm a hand talker and holding this to my face throughout the whole video might be a struggle, but I don't want to put it on my clothing because it might make noises when I move my hands. We'll see how it goes. You let me know how you like it, or if you don't like it, I will switch back. I don't know why I'm so nervous. I don't know. I just want to film this chill sit down video with you guys, chat, rant, maybe vent a little bit, and answer some of your questions. I had asked you guys to ask me questions on my YouTube community page and then also on Instagram. So I have both of those things here so I can go through your questions. But I just kind of wanted to touch base because, by the way, I'm Rachel. I'm a second year OBGYN resident physician. But you guys, lately, I don't know the origin or the feelings behind what I'm feeling, but I figured that we should talk about it, or I wanted to talk about it with you. Lately, I have been, I don't know if it's not having motivation or just being burnt out or uninterested. I haven't been interested in vlogging a lot recently and being on social media in general. I've just been much more quiet and I realized that I don't really post a lot. I feel like I haven't been connecting with you guys as much as I used to in the past. But lately, I have also been more of just a consumer of content and mainly the short form content like TikTok and Instagram Reels. And to be completely honest, I think that the amount that I have been consuming has really negatively impacted my overall perception of social media and such, just because I take a step back and I look at these trends that are going on and what the algorithm pushes. And it is, I'm sorry, but it's just not a lot of quality content. It's about the aesthetic of things and how you look and what you buy. And I noticed that so many of these really popular content creators, they all fit in a very similar category of what they buy, what they look like, and the content is a lot of just trends and people repeating the same things over and over, but in different ways. And for some reason, it's really addicting to watch. And I don't find a lot of value in that content. I'm not saying that my content is better than anyone's, but I'm trying to constantly evaluate what I'm putting out on the internet and asking myself, is it valuable content? Is it helping somebody X, Y, and Z? And I don't know. I just can't get on board to film a lot of these short form content type trends and such. I just can't do it. I can't. I've tried and it's not my style. I can't do it. And so I don't. But then naturally, I do compare myself and my numbers and all of this, the engagement and all of that to someone on a short form content that's in the medical creating space. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this doesn't compare. And especially it doesn't compare to how my numbers used to be. And I don't know, I just feel like I've lost a little bit of connection with you guys. And I know that has been my ability to vlog has been greatly hindered by my inability to film inside the hospital and while I'm at work, because I spend most of my time at work and a lot of things happen at work. And it's a lot of things that I would love to talk about, but it's hard to because so many things happen throughout the day. I forget at the end of the day to talk about it. I get so tired, and when I come home, it's just me racing the clock to go to the gym, spend time with Patrick, we make dinner, shower, go to sleep. And that's kind of my everyday, and it has been, and I feel that I just kind of show you the same thing over and over, and I'm short of breath because I'm so nervous right now. I don't know why. Take a deep breath. I've tried to reflect and evaluate why I feel this way, but I think that a lot has to do with my inability to vlog inside the hospital, and for reasons that I can't talk about, and I will the second I graduate. You best believe I will be talking about so many things that have happened in residency that I don't want to talk about right now because of whatever. Those things will be discussed when I graduate, and I just can't talk about it right now. It has made me not want to vlog a lot because I just feel that my content gets so repetitive. I fear sometimes talking about difficulties that I'm having in residency and struggles because they can be taken in a different context and I don't want to get in trouble. And just to blatantly put it out there like that. And the ups and downs are still there. I just feel like I talk about them less because I don't want to be perceived as incompetent as like a physician. Am I really about to cry? The toxicity in medicine still exists. And when you, or if you are perceived as weak, it's not a good look. And for some reason, too many people having emotions or showing that you have emotions, especially more of the like sadness, anger, is just not well perceived and accepted. And I am doing my best to try and change that stigma. That's why, it's partially why I continue to film. But it's hard because I'm the one who faces all of the conversation. So I'm doing my best, and I appreciate all of you so very much. But let's get into the Q&A, and that's that. Okay, first question. How's the wedding planning going? When do you have an idea of when you'll get married? I'm actually getting married in like a month and a half, and I'm so excited. It's going to be a very small, intimate wedding, and it's going to be on like this property that is like a historic property with a beautiful like estate, and we rented that out, and it's going to just be with my parents, Patrick's parents, our siblings, and we're going to do it like that. My brother will officiate it. He is also the one that introduced us. And then we're going to have a bigger like celebration, dinner, reception party type thing in 2026 for our 1-year anniversary. And that's when we'll invite all the troops and get everyone together and celebrate and just party and have fun. It is the perfect way that I think we could have done this, just because I want something small and intimate and meaningful just to us. I've been to a few weddings now, and I feel like weddings are really just for other people when they should be about love and the two getting married. And so I really want to just soak up all of that time with Patrick and our immediate family. I'm very excited, and it's coming up soon, and I still have to write my vows. And I thought about writing them the other day, and I just started sobbing, and I was just like, this is going to be pretty hard to do because he means so much to me, and the amount of love that I have for him, I cannot even put into words. And so it's going to be quite difficult. Next question that I have here, how do you handle being overwhelmed? And I want to tie this into something that I've been wanting to talk about, but I'm actually very introverted. And despite putting myself out on the internet, that is the extent of my putting myself out there. I'm actually pretty shy in person, and I'll put on a face to smile and be approachable, but I'm actually very shy and intimidated by a lot of interactions. And not so much, it doesn't make me anxious, but I would just rather be invisible in a room and disappear. And that's not in like a bad way or anything like that. That's just how I am. And the quieter and the less populated, the better, which is ironic being in medicine where every day you're talking with people and it is a very social profession, which I do fine with that. And I really enjoy patient encounters, and I love talking with people. And I think it is because it's like a one-on-one, or like with a family or family members there and such, so it's very personal, and that's enough that I can tolerate as an introverted person. And I don't mean to put like a label on myself, and because I feel that labeling can kind of inhibit your abilities, because then you stay within that box to fit that label in a sense. But this is just how I am, and I actually really enjoy being like this. Something that I have learned to do is to just center myself, and I just kind of go inwards, and I make a very quiet space for myself in my head. So despite the environment being very loud, I have learned to be able to just block it out and mute everyone and just be with myself despite being in the presence of many other people. And so it is just something that I've developed over time. I'm not sure how I did it, which is actually a really helpful and valuable skill to have, because when we're in crazy situations with patients and urgent settings and everyone is around, everyone is freaking out and panicking, but especially as a physician, it is so important to be calm and to center and bring it all in, so you can think clearly and not get overwhelmed and respond and react to everything that's going on, the chaos that's around you, So that has been something that's a good skill to have, but I guess that didn't really answer your question. But practice centering yourself and making that quiet space in your head despite the chaotic energy that's going on around you. Not sure how you do that, but it's doable because I've done it. Another question here, why don't medical schools focus more on holistic health and nutrition? I don't know. I don't know why we only get like a course or two in nutrition. I don't know why they don't focus more on it, because obviously it is a huge issue. Nutrition in this country is so poor. The poor quality of our diet and our food and our source of food and such, it is so poor, and it has been the main reason for why we have so many chronic diseases now and the comorbidities of everything. I think that it is very, very, very related to our diet, if not being the origin of all problems, because it's causing inflammation, obesity, X, Y, and Z, you name it. I think that if we changed our diets, ate whole foods all the time, not processed stuff, limited or no chemical ingredients, I think we would all be in a lot better place. I don't think that it is all because of the doctor's fault that we don't know these things or we don't counsel patients enough. It needs to come from like a more systemic level where we are changing our children and we are changing what they learn in school. We are changing what their nutrition looks like that they're getting from school lunches and snacks and all of that stuff. I don't understand why we give children in public schools, especially, like the worst food, the most toxic processed food ever. And we're giving it to them, and then we're trying to tell them, oh, you need to eat fruits and vegetables when they're getting like pre-made pizzas and cookies and soda at school. This is a much bigger issue than what we're taught in medical school. We learn so many different things. We learn so much, to become a doctor, and we are learning forever. We do our best and we could improve, but we also need to improve like as a society in these aspects, and it should not just come from the doctor's mouth to tell you to eat better, because it is really hard to change habits that were formed when people first started grade school. It's a big issue, and I agree with you. We need to learn more in medical school and such, but it is not just on the doctor to know these things. An OG, he is a doctor. He is an emergency med resident, and he's going to be an attending next year. And he said, what are your pet peeves when you're consulted? When we're on labor and delivery, we obviously have emergency departments in the hospital, and we are the ones who get consulted when there are issues down in the ED, like someone is coming in with heavy vaginal bleeding, they're having a miscarriage, they have a huge abdominal mass they did imaging and it's coming from the ovary or whatever it is. And so we'll get consulted for these types of things, and we go down, we see the patient. Do we need to admit them, or can we just, send them home with return precautions? I think just my only pet peeve is when people don't do pelvic exams on people who are having vaginal bleeding and they're not able to quantify how much bleeding is going on. So we don't know, like there's been so many times where we have gotten a call and they're just like, she's bleeding so much and there's just so much blood. And then we go down there and do a pelvic exam and there's no blood, or there's like spotting. And it's just like, do the pelvic exam because we know you didn't do the pelvic exam. And so then it's just like, it kind of got punted to us to come do it when maybe we didn't need to come down and do that pelvic exam. But that's kind of the only pet peeve that I've noticed that happens. Another question here, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? I deal with imposter syndrome a lot. I think that my imposter syndrome flares up when I am around my co-residents. It just is a little bit more competitive. And I know that people say that OBGYN residents, like we fit this stereotype of being mean and toxic, but I don't agree with that, at least for our co-residents. We are just, or they are, I think, are just more like competitive, and it's a surgical specialty. I think that like surgical residents are a little bit more competitive, or they are not shy at least. So I get very intimidated when we are in group settings and we're doing like a group pimping session type thing, not pimping, but just like call out the answer if you know it type thing. And I am often silent and I don't participate, like I internally participate, but I have so much fear of being wrong because they're often always right because they're so smart. And I feel like I'm not supposed to be there and that I'm just a failure and a fake if I don't know these things. And some things that I do is just to focus on those areas of weakness. What do I need to read up more on so I feel more confident if I were to blurt out an answer? And I will focus on those weak areas and then also recognize my strengths. Like, I might not know everything right at the top of my head of these random nitpicky facts, but I will at some point. I'm only in my second year, and so I guess you got to remind yourself of where you're at and look at where you came from, and know that you're going to just keep progressing forward, and we're all going at different speeds. And just because someone's being more vocal than you are, it doesn't mean that you are any less. And I think this has a lot to kind of tie back with being introverted. Just because the way that you approach things looks different compared to your extroverted neighbor doesn't mean you're any less powerful or that you don't make as big of an impact compared to others. And I want you to remember that. Do you have any New Year's resolutions or things that you're excited about accomplishing in 2025? I don't really like doing New Year's resolutions because I don't want a new year to define when I'm going to start changing myself. I feel like on a regular basis, I'm trying to evaluate how I can improve as a human being and as a partner, as a doctor, all of these, as a content creator. Like, I'm trying to constantly reevaluate these things, and I don't want the new year to define that starting point for me. But one thing that I am trying to work on right now is to not cuss as much, because I actually cuss a lot, you guys.
I actually do cuss a little.
Do you?
Also, yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
Probably fuck.
So I'm trying to improve that. I would like to dip more into my creativity and just be better at YouTube and creating content, because I do love it so much. So that's another goal that I have. And I just want to learn and read more, like read more of our practice bulletins and guidelines so I can be a little bit sharper and faster in knowledge-wise for OBGYN stuff. Because although I feel very confident with surgical skills at this point in my training, I feel that my knowledge, I'm always second guessing myself. And even if I'm right, I want to just like make sure that I'm right, but I need to just solidify certain things to where I don't have to second guess and feel like an imposter. This is a great question. Are you at peace with having debt because you get to do what you love? I don't care that I have debt from medical school. It sucks so bad, but so many of us have debt from medical school, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous and laughable how much debt that I have, but I don't care because I know that I will pay it off at some point. I don't think medical school should cost how much it costs. I think it was an absolute scam joke how much, especially osteopathic medical schools, they overcharge their students, and they're private, especially like a fourth year medical student in any like MD or DO. Why are we paying, or why did we pay so much for that year of tuition when we are on audition rotations and teaching ourselves? We're not in the lecture halls. Like, why did we pay so much? And if anything, I know that our tuition increased over time as the years went on. And I'm just like, what? I'm having less and less interactions with the school. Why are we paying so much when we're teaching ourselves or we're learning on rotations, and the school has practically no weigh-ins on what we're doing? It is just pathetic. And again, it needs to be reevaluated at a systemic level, and it's criminal. And I bet that our tuition just gets pocketed by these people at the top, and that's kind of just how everything is. But I'm so annoyed with us having to just accept that. Something's got to change, and I have so many things that I wish would change, but I don't know where you start with really fixing these deep-rooted problems that have just it's ridiculous. Like, please. I'm getting to do something that I love, and it's not my fault that I wanted to go into a profession that costs so freaking much to get into. And and we're getting paid so little as residents, and it's not about the money. It's not about the money at all, but it's just like, why did I have to pay so much? And I'm getting paid less than minimum wage right now, working more than most Americans. It makes no sense. Like, we just need to pay off our freaking loans, you know? So now I've switched over to Instagram comments, and Let's see. Okay, this is a good question. How do you make patients feel comfortable during things like pap smears and stuff? Like, how do you talk to patients? Obviously, I'm a female. I've gotten pap smears and like pelvic exams done on myself. And so I think about the experiences that I've had. And so I want to perform these exams on other people in ways that I would want it done for myself. And I think that is kind of what's cool about being in this field, is that you get to build rapport with the patient so quickly so you can allow them to feel comfortable for these exams. And it's a really great opportunity to try and make the patient have as good of an experience as they possibly can during something that's uncomfortable, that's sensitive. It's a private area, maybe it's taboo for people. And so it is your job to try and figure out how can you make them the most comfortable. Normally, I don't have them undress until I step back out after meeting them and talking to them. I'm always, entering the room bubbly and happy and, trying to build rapport quickly, like commenting on, oh, I love the shirt that you're wearing, or, oh my gosh, your hair looks so beautiful. Stuff like that to make them kind of relaxed. So I tell patients everything that's going on, because I feel like after you lay down as a patient that you are just staring at the ceiling, but then you hear the provider like rustling around in like the drawer or whatever it is getting set up. And so I just tell them everything that I'm doing. Like, okay, I'm just prepping the speculum. And of course I would have explained what we're doing for the pap smear and what to expect, yada, yada. And so then I just let them know everything. And then especially when you're going to touch the perineum, I start at their leg, like their knee, and I use the back of my hand. And I'm like, you're going to feel my hand here on your leg. And then you're going to feel the pressure from the speculum. It might be a little cold, might feel a little gooey from the gel. Okay, I apologize. And lots of pressure here. And so then I kind of just tell them everything. And then as I'm going through and doing the pap smear, or if I'm having trouble finding the cervix, I let them know, like, hey, your cervix is hiding from me. Just give me a moment. Let me know if you're too uncomfortable. And I constantly check in and I ask, are you doing okay? Like, we're done. We'll be done here shortly. Just give me a second. Da, 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 da. And then I remove the speculum and then it's all good. And then I feel like the faster that you're able to cover the perineum with the drape, then the better. Like, it's just more comfortable to just be protected. And some patients won't want that and they'll be like, oh, just tell me when you're done. But a lot of patients appreciate that step-by-step walkthrough of every little thing that you're doing. And I would want that. Next question. What do you think is the best thing to get you ready for starting residency? Nothing. Don't do anything. I want you to relax. After medical school, just chill. Like your 4th year after you match, please relax, treat yourself, go on a vacation, spend time with your family and friends. But if you would like to do other things, I think that establishing a workout routine that's going to be sustainable for you in residency, do that. And then also establish some healthy eating habits. You are what you eat. And so you got to learn to eat well if you're not already eating well, because that's going to sustain you for these long hours that you're going to have. Next question. How do you deal with menstrual cramps or discomfort during shifts? I had shared with you guys that I have a clinical diagnosis of endometriosis and I have terrible pelvic pain and cramping, especially around my period. And if I do not weight lift on a regular basis, these symptoms are exaggerated. I am doped up on ibuprofen during my shifts. It's really, really difficult when you are having these sort of pains. I'm actually having them now because I'm about to get my period. So I have really bad pelvic pain right now. And I take a lot of ibuprofen, like scheduled dosing of it, and kind of like the maximum amount around my period. And I drink a lot of water, and I also just deal with it because I don't have a choice. Like sometimes, like I've been in C-sections in the middle of the night where I'm cramping so much that I just want to die, and I can't because I'm operating on someone, or you're delivering someone's baby and it's their moment, but I'm having so much pain that I have tears in my eyes, and it's just something that you just have to deal with. I'll grab heating packs, or I'll bring my heating pack from home and I use that. I drink a lot of water and I take a lot of NSAIDs. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. Like, I've got to work. I can't call out because I have bad pelvic pain around my period. Like, I've been dealing with this for like a half of my life almost. So it is quite awful. And it never gets easier, but here we are. Another question, kind of along the lines of another two questions that I've answered, but tips for working in healthcare as an introvert. Another thing that I wanted to mention is to establish your boundary with work and with your colleagues. Like, have the boundary, and it can be strict if that's what you need. And if you need to retreat and be quiet and have quiet time for yourself, you should not feel guilty about that. I have to save my social battery, and I got to protect myself and my energy. I saw this meme one time where it's like, extroverts are always telling introverts to get out of their comfort zone, but why don't extroverts just ever shut up? Don't understand why we're allowed to just be harassed about being out of our comfort zone and to just socialize more, do more things, when why don't extroverts just chill out? Another question here, how is life treating you? How are you feeling? Honest and raw answers only, LOL. I think overall, I can't really complain right now. I kind of mentioned to you guys the rut that I'm in about content creating and such, and that's a small part of my life, but still a big part that I focus on and think about. My arm's getting tired from holding this little microphone. But overall, like, I'm so happy. We did move into this beautiful new house. We're renting. We didn't buy it, unfortunately. So like, my home life is great. Patrick and I love that man so much. I can't wait to get married to him. And, work hasn't been so bad. I was really burnt out and put through the ringer in November, and I definitely was suffering from that pretty hard. And then we got into December, and I finally got to go on like my infertility rotation, and that was really chill. And then I've kind of been just in clinic the last few weeks, and it's been much more manageable, and I am really appreciative of that, because I was getting into like a darker headspace and just being very unhappy and almost regretting like residency all over again, kind of like a repeat of year one, just because I was so burnt. But right now I'm doing great because I am working normal people hours. I am taking care of myself because I have time to go to the gym. I have time to eat well and all of these things. And it does reflect in your body's ability to function well. So yeah, I'm doing fine. Okay, my next and last question, future goals outside of medicine. I think I want to like have a business. I want to do something else. I don't want to just do medicine forever. Maybe it might still be in the realm of medicine in the way of like maybe like a politics thing, or helping with like mental health and trying to fix this system that we have, trying to, I don't know, do something in like a policy type thing. Or I want to have my own business. When I have said that in like a healthcare setting that I want to do other things like not related to medicine, I feel like people in medicine are so like, that is their whole life. They have done everything in this world to do this one thing, and that their whole life revolves around this one thing. They get almost like offended that you want to do other things. To me, I'm just like, your whole life doesn't have to revolve around medicine. We're human beings, and we are cool in the way that we can learn many different skills and do as many different things as we want to in our lifetimes. And if you want to do other things and not just focus on one thing, then that's okay. And it shouldn't be a bad thing. And I don't know, people get so offended by that. And I'm like, well, good thing this isn't your life. Yeah, I don't want to just do one thing. Medicine's not my one and only. That's why I do like YouTube and videography, photography type things, because it's also a big part of my life. After seeing how broken this system is, I'm just like, I love it a lot, and I love what I do, and I love what I learn, and I love working with patients and helping them. Like, I don't live and breathe to be a doctor. I live, eat, and breathe to be a human and to be Rachel. I had a lot of fun filming this video, answering your guys' questions, and I hope that it was enjoyable for you guys to watch. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question. There were actually quite a lot of questions, but I tried to do the best that I could, or find the themes and then answer those questions that would address those bigger themes. Maybe I want to start a podcast after doing this like little chatting session, because I actually really enjoyed talking into this thing, and it feels very podcasty. But I wouldn't want to film it. I would just want to be sitting and talking into this thing. Would you listen? Let me know. I love you guys so much, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Join our herd. We're happy and a great time. We would love to have you. We do have new merch that is I don't know. It might be the only thing that I release ever again because it's like a classic staple crew neck that's embroidered and it has a beautiful 222 reminder that you're in the right place at the right time. Anyways, I love you guys so much. And until next time, take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves, continue to work hard and all the good stuff. Okay, bye.